Welcome back to Designing AI-driven Personalized and Adaptive Learning Environments course. In this video, we will talk about e-learning authoring platforms and SCORM standard. We will introduce what has been used as e-learning platform in the industries. Also, we will talk about the SCORM standard in a very high level. So, the interactive learning is not only for the universities, like we talk about interactive learning, we always show that computer-based learning environment, students the fractions or math examples. We also assume that interactive learning environment is only for, for the school or undergraduate. It's not necessarily. In fact, all the global workforce training have their own, learning and research division, where they have to go through multiple course trainings. If you go to any organization, be it a banking sector, be it in the IT sector, be it in the finance, they have to go through multiple courses before onboarding, during the onboarding process, also continuous reading is happening. Imagine there's a company, a head group, and it has a multiple type of companies working on it, or the office is working in a different locations or different, geographical locations or different cities, all these things. And they also work in a different product or, different multinational companies are there. Can we have an intelligent tutoring system to say that, hey, I want you to learn this particular module, so you install in your office and make the students to work on it and collect the data, send it to us? Is it possible to create such a ITS for the scalable? I think ITS is very good for the small scale, for the school children's. If I want to learn, adapt the content, everything. If I want to scale it for 10,000 employees or 1 lakh employees, it needs a very dedicated software team. It needs a lot of work in the sense developing a system, make sure the server is able to get all the requests and able to respond. All those things has to come into picture. Instead, can we have a standard material which can be automatically plugged into any system that would automatically send a data to the the human resource department in the office or the managers to them. So that's the thing which come up with the e-learning tutoring tools. So suppose you have the fantastic, brilliant adaptive training model, but how do you deploy it to 10,000 employees across different departments and countries? That's the issue. So to solve that, they come up with the best system called learning management systems. I think we all know this. We are using the LMS in the universities. So every organization uses a different LMS. For example, we use Moodle. Most of the colleges, it's open source. Some use Blackboard, some use Google Classroom, some use Canva, some use Microsoft Meet. There are a lot of learning management system has been coming into picture, but can we have one particular standard that can be fit into all these learning management systems and which automatically collects the data, sends to a particular person or particular unit? That is how this came in. So the learning management system is a solution. If you use Moodle, you already been using in universities for 40,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 students. Each and every user, the teacher able to upload the content, user able to access it without much work. So the learning management system is created for the scale. What we talked till now, the gift tutor or the auto tutor or any other tutor we talked about till now, it is for the small user set, and we collect data, and we collect data from students for the small sample size of 1,000 or 2,000 users, and we collect and analyze. But if I want to make it standardized and generalized, we will go for the learning management system. So how to standardize LMS content across industry? Consider you have a MNC having multiple office locations, and HR wants to standardize the learning. Every company might use a different software. There's some company would be using the Linux OS or something like that, or they might be in a different environment. How do you standardize this training material so that all the employees of the company are able to learn and they assess and the performance is viewed by the HR? So I would request you to pause the video, think about it, then continue. SCORM, Shareable Content Object Reference Model, is the standard that is to talk across all the learning management systems and the e-learning content we developed. It is a technical standard. It tells you how to interact online content with LMS, and how do you generate, how do you create a content with a particular standard. For example, you have to write saying that this is the particular content, this is the assessment level, what are the feedback, and all those things has been decided in a set of standards, XML standards. So consider the SCORM as a standard like IEEE standard. It is not a software, it is an open source standard, anybody can use it. And it's kind of analogy can be the USB standard. For example, if I have a laptop, it can be Mac, OS, or using Linux software, it has a USB port. I can connect the USB port to my mouse, I can connect across any devices, or I can use it to connect my mic or web camera, whatever. The USB standard is very clear that the device can be anything, the content of e-learning content can be anything. The laptop which operates also can be anything. It can be LMS like a Moodle or Blackboard or Google Classroom, but it should work. That's a standard. So SCORM is such a standard, and it automatically tracks the student's completion status. Like a student logged in at this particular time, student spent time on say 30 minutes on this particular e-learning content. Did they complete or not? And also if you have some assessment, it will tells you how much the score the student got it. That's the detail it tracks, and it tells it to HR. For the HR, for the big companies like a 10,000 employees or 1 lakh employees or multiple more, they want to know how many employees completed a course and what is the score. If they have scored more than 80, they have passed, move on. If they are not scored, ask them to redo again, that's all. The logic of SCORM standard using in LMS is to provide a content to the employees, and employee assess the content. It can be in the flash format, or it can be in the PPT, it can be the material, any reading material. After reading the material, they should take assessment. The assessment should have a set of questions to understand the students knowledge. If the student has not scored say 80%, then they are asked them to redo again or provide some other content. That is the SCORM standard interacting with the LMS. That's the idea of this. So SCORM is the standard which communicates with LMS and the e-learning content. However, if you want to manually code, automatically tagging saying that this is a content, this set of is a question, if you want to label each of them using XML format, it's a bit technical and it takes a lot of time. In order to avoid that, there are a lot of softwares available. Most of them are commercial software, not for free, like Articulate 360 or Captivate, but they are fantastic softwares. You just need to have your data, your idea of a content, sit down, you create a content, set of questions, you can have a flow chart saying that I want to have a content here, I want to test the knowledge, if student fails, give this particular content or redo the content. You can define the path, just drag and drop. Then the content will be arranged as per this. Then the SCORM file can be downloaded. The downloaded SCORM file can be loaded into any LMS, can be Moodle or the Google Classroom. It will work. Also the same SCORM file can be used in the simple browser also, it will work fantastically. So Articulate 360 is what we will show the demo. It is, although paid software, it is free for a few months, so you could check it out how to create a authoring tool or the personalized adaptive learning environment which adapts a content based on learners' performance in the set of questions. So the workflow in e-learning content is basically design and publish. Design, basically you have to build the branches or scenarios. As I mentioned earlier, you create a content, you say the scenario if the student has answered 5 questions correctly, move on to the next content. If they're not answered, give them a different content. All those things possible. You have to create a flowchart kind of thing. Then you have to, once the flowchart is adaptive logic is visually done, you say I publish. Just click a button, it creates a SCORM package. The package can be zipped into any LMS or even any browser. In next video, we will show the demo of Articulate 360. I would request you all to try that and create a nice personalized adaptive learning environment which adapts based on the learner's performance in set of questions. Thank you.